What's going on, everybody? It is your boy, Tom Talks Rubbish, and I am back with another Wrestle Watch podcast. And this time, since Cass is currently out of commission, I'm joined by James Mooney. So welcome to the Wrestle Watch podcast, my friend. Jameus Mooney. Sorry, my guy. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here. We're going to be watching... Too early? Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you guys know, what we do on this show is we basically provide alternative commentary for a match. So, with Ric Flair's final match taking place on the 31st of July in just a few days, for this week's poll, you had 4 Ric Flair matches to choose from, which were Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels from Mania 24. Yes, I fucked up in DMs. Let's not go there. Yes, I fucked up. I know. Sting, Flair from the Final Nitro. 2001, the Final Nitro. The match we're going to watch, which I am not going to spoil, but one that has escaped me. Do you have any idea what it was, bro?
Ric Flair, Terry Funk, I Quit match, which got 5 stars at the... I want to say 9th Clash of Champions.
Yeah, we'll be honest, guys. This got sprung on us that we were going to record together because Cass is out of commission, didn't it? The
Funk Flair I Quit match, which is not the match we're watching, folks, is a tremendous match that you should probably do later because it's really well done.
I've already said to Cass that any of these matches that didn't win, they're going on the poll. But what we are watching this week is Flair. Do you want to tell the good people what we're watching? We're
watching the first of 3 from the legendary Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, 1989 trilogy. Their first match since 1983. And here, this is Ricky's first singles match in the NWA after his WWF run. His first WWF run, I should say. And they wrestle in Chicago at the Chi-Town Rumble for the NWA World Championship, and a really, really good matchup.
Definitely. But before we get into it, guys, have you liked the video? Subscribe to bodyslam.net? If not, please consider doing so. Follow bodyslam.net on Twitter and the Wrestle Watch podcast on Twitter to help us choose a match every week. Where do you go to find news? Because my brain went blank, Jameson.
Jameis. No.
Jameis. Where do we go to find news?
You can find news on
bodyslam.net.com.
No, just .net. Just .net. There's no .com.
On bodyslam.net.
Bodyslam.net.
I'm terrible at this, man.
Corey's doing a tremendous job with news, which, of course, you can watch. Corey is also my co-host for the Excellently Executed podcast, which you can watch on Body Sam's YouTube channel, where we do something similar to Wrestle Watch, but not exactly, where we just take isolated clips from matches and break them down. This upcoming episode is on Elbow Drops. The first episode, which got a lot of really strong reviews, was on Dropkicks. And you have something coming up with Corey too, don't you?
Yes, but that's not going to air for a while, so let's not plug it yet.
Okay, fair enough.
If that's okay. But yeah, also, guys, remember, slamchats.com to help us keep the lights on and to donate some money.
Faces like this.
Yes. Oh dear, I'm so sorry, Cass, if you watch this one back. Those plugs were terrible. But yeah, make sure you follow and listen to bodyslam.net wherever you get your podcasts. Did I leave anything out?
If you did, I'll get to them at the end.
Okay, so let's get into it then, my friend. The Chi-Town Rumble.
Of course. You've never seen this match, have you?
No.
So it's probably my least favorite of the 3, but it's still a really good match. There's a spot in it where Flair goes spoiling the match. I'm not good at this. Flair goes for a drop down, and Steamboat drops down with them into a side headlock. They build to the finish the entire match, which I'm not going to spoil, but you can see as you watch the match. And of course, this Steamboat wins the belt here. I think everybody knows that. So Steamboat is the last NWA champion to defend the belt in All Japan. And he does that against Tiger Mask 2. And under the mask is Mitsuharu Misawa, one of the 4 pillars of Japanese professional wrestling. And of course, this is also that 1 year time period where Ricky Steamboat used the opening ceremony instrumental by from German techno band Color Sound, which is his best music he ever used. He only used it for a year during this run, and that
fair enough.
It slaps.
Out of curiosity, man, are you like a massive wrestling historian? Because you do just pull facts off.
You can say that. Yeah, you can say that. But I'm also a huge Ricky Steamboat fan and a huge early Ric Flair fan. Like, I don't like a lot of Ric Flair's later work, but I love a lot of his early work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. But are you ready to get into it? So if
yes,
you're
sir, I'm ready whenever.
If you're watching along with us, that on the WWE Network, the timestamp is
158.28.
158.28 on Peacock and on the WWE Network. So yeah, let's get into it, guys, because I'm really excited to watch this, and I know you are as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Oh, sugar, I should turn my TV down so we don't get copyrighted. Is this Ric Flair in his prime, do you reckon?
I would argue 1989 Ric Flair was firing on all cylinders. He had already gone through a lot of the
robe.
Yeah, that robe is nice.
Yeah, like I've got a weird relationship with Ric Flair's career because I appreciate what he did, his early stuff, but like I can't connect with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his WWE stuff, I just find a bit sad at times.
Oh, it is sad.
Don't get me started on his TNA stuff.
I didn't watch that. I don't plan to.
Don't. I did once just for a goof and like because I needed something to do, and it's all very depressing. But yeah, like overall, man, like I Flair would probably crack my top 20. But
I don't know how much you've listened to these shows, but the ring announcer, Gary Capetta, one of my favorite ring announcers of all time. And he's perfect on the Ric Flair entrances.
Ooh. Obviously, I've had to turn it right down because of copyright and stuff.
Can you hear my screen or no?
A little bit, so it's your call what you want to do in that one.
Jim Ross is so good here.
You were saying to me off camera, this is
my favorite era of Jim Ross.
Because this is pre his Bell's palsy attack, right?
It is. Well, I don't know if he had already gone through it once, but he had a couple later is what really changed his voice and vocal range.
This is a question I always love to ask Cass when we do this. Is this a match that if it was plotted in today's era without any context, if it just happened with them in their prime in today's era, would it still work?
Yes. Because Jim Ross is about to say here it's going to be fast-paced, which it is for this time period. But it's the groundwork of the story. That's a really tight collar and elbow tie-up right there.
Yeah.
Tight headlock. Ricky Steamboat's going to work the head a lot early, the headlock, which might not work in this day and age, but you change it up a little bit based on the crowd's reaction response. And of course, with Flair and Steamboat, they know how to work a crowd.
Which me and Cass discuss this all the time. I think that's a lost art in wrestling, knowing how to work a crowd.
There are guys who do it. You know who does it really well? See right there, I mentioned it right before. Flair goes for a drop down and Steamboat goes right into a headlock.
Yeah.
That's a great little spot. And it frustrates Flair early, which is perfect for what you need for the story. Why is Ricky Steamboat wearing green? I just don't get it.
I was hoping you'd mention it because I just wanted to go, it's not easy being green.
Jesus. Brad Meltzer.
Huh? That is too Muppets for me, that green.
Yeah, I'm used to Ricky Steamboat wearing red or white. I mean, I've seen this match a bunch. I know he wears green in it. It's just so weird.
The only thing that I don't like with Flair is, if you know the story, he's telegraphing he's losing because he's wearing red.
Yeah. He always wore red when he lost in this era.
Yeah. So if you were smart back then, you knew that he was going to lose.
There's certain tells you can see with everybody.
Certain wrestlers, like I've listened to Steven Larson a bunch, and certain wrestlers just have lose face.
This is where he drops him on top, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like he drops him here in a minute. Flair took the best backdrops. I love how he took backdrops. Taking a nice backdrop's kind of a lost art.
Do you know why he takes it so different?
Because of his back injury from the plane crash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't take a flat back bump here, or on any backdrop. This is where he drops him. Oof.
Yeah.
And it pisses off Flair. Nice. It's a nice touch. Obviously, I've seen this match a bunch.
How many times have you watched this match?
I wouldn't know.
So why, you were telling me this off camera, but why is like this, as a younger wrestling fan, something you enjoy?
When I was getting into pro wrestling, I got into pro wrestling about 2006, summer 2006. But for me, my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid, just getting into wrestling during that time period, were Paul London, Brian Kendrick, Finlay, Matt Hardy, those kind of guys.
I'm sorry, man. I've had to turn my fan on. It's too hot in here.
You're good.
Yeah.
I have a fan on in here. But
if you can hear, man, I do
absolute favorites were guys like Bret Hart, because this was before the network or anything. The internet was still kind of in its infancy in terms of streaming. Of course, 2005, that's the year YouTube was launched.
Really?
So YouTube more or less wasn't a thing yet. Social media was more or less non-existent.
Oh, what a lovely cradle turning into pinfall and headlocks.
Yep. And of course, Steamboat has to decide, let it go for a split second or get beat. It's a nice touch. So my dad used to have tapes of everything. And whatever wasn't on tape, we'd use the old WWE Classics on Demand service. So, which if you look closely on the network during the mid-2000s, you can see a lot of advertisements for. So I would spend every day. I had a really rough childhood.
Yeah.
A really traumatic childhood. So all my spare time went to stuff that made me feel good. And so I put hours upon hours of whatever pro wrestling I could get my hands on just to get away from life.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to Ric Flair.
And I had a lot of access to stuff like this. So
fair enough.
As I've gotten older, I prefer today's wrestling but I can sit and watch and just enjoy the hell out of wrestling like this.
What is your expectations for Flair's final match?
I'm not watching it.
I know Cass is going to be there, as far as I
The
know.
card looks good. Oh, that's nice. That backhand. I love Ricky Steamboat. Ricky
Yeah,
Steamboat is on that Randy Orton, Barry Windham, Kurt Angle, Kenny Omega level type smooth in the ring.
definitely.
Like he's one of the Kurt Hennig's another guy. He's one of the absolute smoothest workers you'll ever find. I don't have high expectations for Ric Flair's final match. I don't think it's going to be good. I have no desire to see this old man work or do anything, and I haven't in years. So
I'm of the opinion he should have stayed retired after Mania 28.
me too, man. Me
24.
too.
If
Of
you
course,
guys
this
know
is a
that,
test of strength right here.
yeah.
Greco-Roman knuckle lock.
If you guys know that inside joke from Body Slam, that's because I fucked up in DMs.
No, wasn't it the poll?
Yeah. So what happens every week normally is I will DM Cass my match choices. I'm guessing I just hit 28 instead of 24.
Look at the way Ricky Steamboat holds his side headlocks.
Flag
holds it like
shots always
this.
look so painful.
He holds it like this. He holds it with this forearm.
Mm.
Whereas Flair holds it with his knuckles.
Mm.
You won't see many guys hold a side headlock. Another backhand. And Flair flops out of the ring here. It's perfect. So perfectly animated, but not too animated that it takes you out of the match.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean, whereas they build to the finish. You can see Ricky Steamboat hesitate as he goes to the top.
If Flair was, say, 10 years younger and could still work in a capacity, I think he'd make a hell of a trainer at the Performance Center.
I don't. The best wrestlers are rarely the best trainers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Because you've seen about Shawn Michaels, haven't you? Like, apparently, not so much now, but apparently when he was training like Daniel Bryan, Brian
He
Kendrick.
trained Brian Kendrick and Daniel Bryan, and they both immediately went overseas and said they learned more from William Regal.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I was getting at.
There are certain wrestlers who, you know who I would think make a great trainer?
Who?
Matt Hardy. You know who I think would make an awful trainer? Jeff Hardy. One was a lot more successful than the other, and it wasn't Matt Hardy.
Yeah. You know who would probably make the worst trainer in the world?
Bill Goldberg.
Well, yes, but I was going to say Lesnar. How did we get onto this conversation, man?
You asked if Flair would be a good trainer, and I said that the most successful workers are rarely the best trainers.
Oh, lovely drop kick.
Yeah, the flying mare and the arm drag were great too, or the hip toss.
You can see,
and of course he goes right back into the side headlock. What's great about this is you can see Flair struggling with his feet. It's that subtle detail of Flair kicking his legs like he's trying to get out that makes that work so much better because you can see the frustration in Ric Flair.
Even I noticed this watching because me and Cass have watched a lot of Flair matches recently.
Cass is a Georgia guy. I bet he loves Ric Flair.
He does. So every time he gets to nominate, I can guarantee a Flair match from this era will come up. But anyway,
this era Ric Flair is the best. Like I'm not a huge Ric Flair guy. I'm a huge this era Ric Flair guy. Like
yeah, same as me. Like the more that I've done this, the more I've figured out that WWE
nice
Flair,
shoulder block.
Oh, beautiful! Some more chops.
Nice back elbow.
What I've noticed is Steamboat can chop.
Steamboat's selling it. Steamboat's one of the best sellers too. Steamboat takes a lot and he sells it like death. Anyway, you were saying what you noticed?
like with Flair, he can. What's it called? He never
I hate.
takes any bumps on his back, which I know why.
Yeah, I don't
But
like Tommy Young. I never did. I
who's
think
Tommy
he tries
Young?
to do
The
too
ref.
much. Why
The
is he
ref.
standing on the second rope to do the counting? Or he
Don't
was
know.
when Steamboat was going to the top. Like, what's the point of Tommy Young standing on the second rope there?
I don't know.
I think Tommy Young and old school fans want to harp on Aubrey Edwards for this,
Mm.
but referees like Tommy Young, Earl Hebner are the biggest defenders of let me get myself over and try and make the match about
I
me.
don't think Aubrey Edwards is that bad.
She's not, but that's not a conversation for this show.
No.
Um,
Yeah, I can't get past Flair's almost like, sorry, Steamboat's. I'm a mup Kermit the Frog types at this
you know what it
cycle.
is for me? I can't get past the fact that he matches the ring
Ring
skirt.
apron.
Yeah, the ring skirt is.
Yeah.
I can't get past that. Imagine he matches the ring skirt. But hair pull, nice, small thing to get him back in the ring.
Oh, that.
And Corey, the episode, I think this is going to air before the new Excellently Executed episode because I
It
need
depends.
Corey to
When's
edit
this
it.
gonna air?
I
When's
need
this
Corey
gonna
to edit it, and Corey can't get the footage till Cass is back. So,
So this may air even later today at time of recording.
but the next episode of Excellently Executed, which is on Elbow Drops, we have Here Comes the Knee Drop. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but to me, Ric Flair's the only guy I've ever noticed this with. Where does he keep his knee pads? Perpetually.
Oh yeah, on like his
On his
thigh.
shins.
Yeah, they're more like shin pads rather than knee pads.
Yeah, he changed that as he got older because he needed to protect his knees more as he got older. But during this era, his knee pads are always down near his shins.
Yeah, I've never noticed that. I've
But
never noticed that, but now that you've said it, I can't unsee it.
Corey asked this on the episode because there was a clip of Owen Hart hitting an elbow drop on Gamacine, and the Stampede referee was counting, and he's like, "Why were you here? Because you would know this. Why would the referees count?" And I'm like, back in the 80s and 70s, all those time periods, no matter the company, they count to 5 when you're on the top rope. So you have 5 seconds to jump off.
What? Why is that again?
Did you notice Tommy Young was counting to 5 when Steamboat was on the rope instead of counting Ric Flair out?
Why do they do that then? You'll know this.
It was one of those things where they're technically outside the ring. It was just a tight rule change that they dropped later on, which I'm glad they dropped it because it's kind of stupid. Oh, that atomic drop is nice. Of course, WCW later on had the stupid top rope rule.
Yeah, that was a Bill Watts.
That was a Bill Watts idea during '92.
Bloody stupid, in my opinion.
I think I accidentally credited that to Jim Herd in the accidentally executed. So Twitter will get on me later.
Oopsie.
Yeah, but Bill Watts shouldn't have been running it.
Yes, but that's a whole nother conversation, isn't it, my friend?
Yeah, that's part of the reason Flair quit
Yeah, I know.
and went to WWE was Bill Watts.
I thought that was Jim Herd.
He came back during Bill Watts.
Yeah.
I don't know,
he
that
quit.
Jim Herd, Bill Watts era just kind of completely throws me for a loop on who was what.
He quit because of Jim Herd, and
Because
Jim
both
Herd
were
wanted
ridiculous. Wasn't Jim Herd the one who wanted
Flair to be Spartacus
drop to Lex Luger?
and
then
to
he's like,
shave his
no,
head.
it's going to be Barry Windham. And then he walked.
And to shave his head. And to shave his head as well, man, and become Spartacus, yeah.
Yeah, because Jim Herd got canned because Flair took the belt with him. And then that's why
Yep.
Bill Watts came in and made the top rope. And that's when Bill Watts made the top rope roll.
So basically, what this episode has discovered is with WCW's creative, how the hell did they survive till like
Eric Bischoff.
2001? Until Eric Bischoff, basically.
Steamboat's so well here. Just the small detail of him having to kick out while in the figure four adds so much struggle.
Yeah.
Oops, I never turned that off.
I'm a bit iffy with that rule, man. Like I don't like the you're on your backs, you're in a submission, so you're gonna get pinned as well.
It makes sense because they're on their back and the other guy's touching them. That's a pinfall.
Yeah, he's touching them, but it's not like I don't know. Like
it makes Steamboat exert more energy too, which is why it's perfect.
I can't justify it, but do you know what I mean? I can't justify it, but
yeah,
it's just a pet peeve of mine, to be honest.
His overhead chops are great.
Steamboat's going proper bald even here.
Oh, that's great. And of course, I can hear Jim Ross' voice raise a little bit. He knew exactly when to raise his voice on high spots and when to go back down.
That's one thing I will say. Like
he's the commentary goat. It's not close.
Excalibur seemed to have really learned from him is when to get excited.
Yeah. Of course, Excalibur is really good in the industry too.
He might be my favorite commentator right now. Just because, and we're going to go off on another tangent here, man. Like, just because of the rundowns he has to do sometimes and the fact that he's like, he never seems to lose his breath. But anyway, that's not important.
I couldn't do it. I'll lose my breath just talking like this.
Bro, you saw how I struggled doing the plugs earlier.
If you want me to do the plugs at the end, I'll do the plugs at the end. I know
what.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool. I should have written them down. Like, in future, if I know Cass is off, I'll have the... Basically, can you send me a list of the plugs? Just so I remember them all, please.
Yeah. Well, odds are it's going to be either him or I on the show. So we both know what to plug because we're the leads of the site.
I get that, but at the end of the day, this is not being self-centered, but this is a show that I created, so it'd be nice to take the lead. Do you know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
Do you know the story of how this show got created?
I don't.
The short version is, and we've talked about it enough, but I did an interview with Cass for my channel. He liked me.
Tom Talks Rubbish. Go check it out, folks.
Go check out Tom Talks Rubbish, by the way. He really liked me, said, pitch some ideas for Body Slam. I did that, and this was the idea because I like watching wrestling with other people.
Yeah, you're one of the few podcasters that, of our original content, the pitch didn't go to me. It went to, because I usually get the go ahead on what's pitched.
Yeah. I think I told this in another interview that I did. I think
my first interaction with you was after you got brought on to do this, and you're like, "Hey, can you edit my channel?"
Oh yeah, what video did I ask you to edit?
I don't know, but it was kind of. I think we got off on the wrong foot because of that.
Oh no, it wasn't me trying to get off on the wrong foot. It was more of a, I'm looking for an editor. Can you help me out? It was more of a, I'm looking for an editor. Do you know anyone? That wasn't me trying to.
It just rubbed me the wrong way because I had never interacted with you before.
Oh, sorry, bro. I do apologize.
No, you're good. But that was the extent of until this show really took off of what I knew about you.
And that crossbody looked like it went really wrong.
See how he missed it? And I mentioned this earlier. They're building to the finish here. Every time he misses it, the crowd wants to see him connect it more. Which is why it works. It's like the other week. the other week, I don't know if you noticed this. I made a tweet about how Orange Cassidy is the most old school psychological wrestler out there,
Yeah,
and why I don't understand why old school fans hate him.
you got some hate for that.
But I'm right. When he wrestled Ethan Page a couple weeks ago, what move did he win on?
I don't know because I haven't seen the match.
A traditional body slam, which he had been trying to connect with the entire match. And when he connected with it, it was one of AEW's largest pops of the last 3 months.
Oh, the rock! Oh,
Oh, well, the backside is perfect because you can see the struggle and is he going to get him over? That's small, take a little extra few seconds to build the drama a little bit. But if you can build to a traditional body slam in 2022 and get a crowd to pop huge for it and not be
yeah,
upset that that's the finish of the match, that is quite literally the most old school thing you could do.
totally, man.
And how many wrestlers nowadays can do that? Not many.
Not
That's
many.
why he's so good at what he does. Less is more with him. He can do all this cool stuff, but instead he's settling to do a body slam, and the crowd eats it up more. Like, that's the most old school thing you can do. And you can kind of see that match pattern here. He keeps missing the crossbody, and then he's going to do it at the finish.
That's
the most old school thing possible.
As much as old school fans shit on him, I would love to see him in like the 80s and the Hulkamania era.
Oh, not WWF, but he'd work at 80s NWA.
Yeah. I think he'd work
This
against
is the
Hulk
finish
Hogan
right
in
here.
WWF.
He finally hits the crossbody. Tommy Young goes down, and the crowd's like, oh no. But they spent the entire match, the entirety of the match, building to that one spot.
Yeah.
The story here is if Steamboat can hit the crossbody, he's going to win. And then he doesn't because of the referee. Like something simple as a crossbody, and they build to it and the crowd eats it up. Of course, this match, we're at like the 21, 22 minute mark, and it's at the climax. This is the shortest of their matches. Early on in the show, Sting and Butch Reed got similar time. And the Nashville match, Wrestle War, which is the one I think you should have put in the poll since Flair's last match is in Nashville anyway.
Wasn't my choice, those two.
Steamboat wins. A great match. Very nice inside cradle. Very tight. Very good. The Nashville match goes about 30. The best of 3 falls in Louisiana at Clash of Champions goes 55.
I know.
So this is the shortest of the 3, which is probably why it's most conducive for a podcast like this, because we just finished it and we're at the 35-minute mark.
Yeah, well, that was fun.
That music, man. That music's the best. That's my favorite Ricky Steamboat music.
I'll have to listen to it once we finish this, man. If I can get tickets that I need to try and
Look who the other referee is.
Who is the other ref, man?
The guy who counts the fall. The guy who comes in after Tommy Young's taken out.
Is that Little Nate?
No, that's not Lil Nitch. Looks
can't
nothing
see
like
who it
Lil
is.
Nitch.
I can't see who it is, bro.
That's Teddy Long.
Is it? Wow.
That is Teddy Long.
Cool.
He may have done something bigger than being a referee in his career. Just maybe.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Magnum Tia. Look at Magnum Tia's hair.
I know. Like, this is something that me and Cass discussed when we watched.
I love Magnum Tia.
Flair Sting, I think it was, when we watched it from 1990.
Great American Bash.
That's the one. And
yeah, that's Sting's first title one.
What a star Magnum TA could have been if he didn't have the car accident.
Yeah, he would have been huge. He was getting huge.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a fun podcast anyway, wasn't it, man? That was a fun match.
Yeah, that's really fun. Of course, speaking of Flair Sting, that is the... Let's look at our podcast archives here. I'm gonna find that real quick. So if people want to go watch you and Cast and geek out over Sting,
I think that was
okay.
like episode 4?
Episode 5.
It
2
was.
months ago. I'm looking
Yeah,
at it now.
it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, it was a fun show to do.
Let's
So
see.
was this bit,
Episode
by the way, man.
4 was CM Punk's John Cena in Chicago.
Yeah,
The
that
very
was my
last
pick.
match, he uses This Fire Burns, and I still miss that, dude.
So do I, man. That was one of my picks. Do you remember what episode 1 was? Because I do.
The only one I've watched was episode 9, and that's just so I could get a Vader Sting. That was so I could get a feel for the show before I hopped on.
Ow.
What?
I'm winding you up. Ignore it. It didn't translate in humor.
Did you say ow?
I said thanks, pal, as if to be like, you don't watch my content. That's nice.
Thanks, pal. Yeah, the issue is I've had to tell people this before. If you want me to watch something, send it to me. I will absolutely watch it and give you feedback. If not, the extent of my podcast we watch are what I produce. So Code of Honor I watch every week because I produce it every week, which we're going live today. I should probably see what time we're going live.
Have you not figured that out yet?
No. I don't even watch my own podcast. Well, I know what happens on my own podcast. Why?
Yeah, it's like I don't watch my own stuff, Batman.
But
anyway, shall we?
Because of how much I do and how busy my schedule is, I will make time if you send it to me and request me to watch it and ask me to give you feedback. But if I'm not on it or I'm not producing it, I just don't have the time to go out of my way to watch everything we do.
Fair enough. Should we look at wrapping this up then?
Yeah, the next episode, SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that either me or you or me or Cass will sit down later in the week to hopefully do a SummerSlam podcast.
If you want me to, I'll do it. I know that's more of a Cassidy call than a me call.
Like he's
just like, hey, can you fill in for me this week? I'm like, sure. And then I just was like,
okay,
you can be on.
Cool. That's more of a Cassidy call than a me call as well. I'm just a host. Do you know what I mean? So what I'll do once we finish this is I'll send Cass a message and then I'll send you a message with the plan, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's no worries at all.
Do you have any idea what your matches are going to be? Should we tease the people?
Well, if I know, I kind of have an idea of 3 or 4 matches I would suggest, but if it's Cassidy, I don't get a choice in what's in the poll.
What me and Cass normally do is 2 matches each. So I do 2 matches, you do 2 matches.
Yeah, but Cass would pick the 2 matches if Cass plans on being on the next episode.
No, that's what I'm saying. If it's you, like
if it's me, there's always a high chance I pick Brett versus Perfect from SummerSlam 1991, which
fair enough.
I just watched for Retro Review with Rob Wilkins on Fightful Select. Let me go ahead and plug that. So if you want to see
definitely, man, plug away
on Fightful.
Let's plug some shit.
There's a lot of really strong SummerSlam matches. I would probably look into doing Edge Cena.
Well, from 2004?
6.
No, 5, 6.
2006.
That's fun.
The Eddie Kurt Angle match from SummerSlam 2004. I like that more than I like the WrestleMania match.
So
that might be in the poll.
I'd have said that, and also
because I don't know if you noticed
too much Kurt Angle in this, but I would have picked Kurt Brock because I think that's
most great underrated. Too. 2003.
That's their most underrated from their trilogy.
Other than Bret Hart, Kurt Angle's my favorite in-ring worker of all time.
Yeah,
and it's not because I think he's the greatest in-ring, most complete in-ring performer of all time. But the thing with Kurt Angle is you can watch a match 1,000 times and pick up a new detail every time.
But
so it's never like watching the same match over and over.
We will keep you guys updated on if another show is going to happen this week and who the co-host for me is going to be. Correct?
Yes, sir. You can find me on all Body Slam platforms. I'm doing I do the NXT post show every week with Patrick Throwback. Shout out to Throwback. I pretty much am the head of our podcasting. So if you like content like this, you like content like Code of Honor with Kyle Sparks and Kylie Fuller, or Tea and Tights with Andy and Dan, or Excellently Executed with Corey and I, or Off the Mat, I believe is the name, with Josh Silverberg. We have a lot of wonderful content, great content creators. We have a lot more coming up. So be sure to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Of course, if you want to support those wonderful faces and my face too, you can
Sorry.
You can do the slam chats. I have no idea what that is, but Cassie likes to plug them, so I'm plugging them.
At slamchats.com.
Let me put a ticker down here. You can follow me at the Jameus. I do a lot of editorials. I do most of my editorials are non-wrestling related. They're baseball related, but I do them regardless. I sometimes cover news for Body Slam, but I primarily focus on editing other people's news. Corey, Brady, Rami do a great job. That's another show. Rami and Corey do Finish the Fight. That's our new UFC show. So be sure to follow Body Slam Net MMA on Twitter, because that's a brand new Twitter we're launching.
That's just who's followed me the other day. I was like, I never knew it was a Body Slam MMA channel, but cool.
We just made it like a week ago.
Cool.
Other than that, be sure to tip your waiters and try our boneless spaghetti. I don't know. I guess I'm done with my plugs here. Oh, no. I have a new show focusing on independent wrestling. Now, I'm actually recording the first episode today live with Ash Nova of TWM. And that's not Body Slam affiliated, but I'm going to plug it anyway because I'm excited to do focus on independent wrestling again.
Me and Cass, I spoke to Cass about this. Plug any content you do, because like if I'm
I always do.
If I'm a guest on someone else's podcast, I'll always plug them.
I always plug my stuff on others' podcasts. I plug other people on Fightful when I do that.
I'm gonna plug my stuff in a minute once you're done. If that's okay.
I think I'm good.
So you guys can follow me on Twitter at TomTalksRubbish. Let's help get my followers up a little bit. You can subscribe to bodyslam.net wherever you get your podcasts, and here on YouTube to get the Wrestle Watch podcast every week. Follow the Wrestle Watch podcast on Twitter to help us pick a match every week. But also, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I have had the opportunity to interview some of the greats in WrestleMania, such as Cassidy Haynes, and just this week, my interview with Kenny McIntosh from Inside the Ropes went up. So be sure to check that out, please.
I'm so glad I'm not part of the greats. Thanks, pal.
We'll get there, bro. Like,
I'm just giving you flack.
As I explained to you, I'm at a point where I'm not accepting any more interviews because I've got too much content in the can.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I was just giving you flack.
No, that's cool, man. I'd love to have you on. No. I'd love to have you on, man. So we will make that happen. But we're going to get out of here, guys. Make sure you follow all the plugs that we mentioned, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.